Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be making a basic dress pattern. This pattern can be used to achieve any of these styles, so it's a very simple and a very beginner friendly pattern. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the steps. The first thing you're going to be needing is a pattern and then your tools. First of all, you need some measurements, which are your shoulder, your bust point, your under bust, your waist, upper hip, lower hip, and then your gown length. So after I've gathered all of those and I've taken my measurements, I'll just go right into putting them down. So I'll start 0.5 from the edge of the pattern paper, and that will be my shoulder. So after marking my shoulder, I'll go right ahead and mark my bust points. I'll leave 0.5 and then I'll mark my chest line, which is going to form my armhole. So the 0.5 will be upward instead of going downward. So if my bust point is 9.5, I'm going to be using 9 inches for my armhole. So I'll go right ahead and mark my under bust, my waist, my upper hip, my lower hip, my knee length, and my gown length. So when I'm done with those, I'm going to rule it straight and then come back for the other measurement. So for the other measurements, I'm going to be measuring my body round. The biggest part of my bust, I'm going to measure it round. The biggest part of my hips, I'm going to measure it round. And then the biggest part of my waist, I'm going to measure it round. I'm also going to go ahead and measure my shoulder length. So from like the point of division from your back, measure your shoulder length, and let's put it all down. So assuming you've gotten all of those, I'm going to start by measuring my neck. So in this pattern, I'm going to be using 3 by 3 for my front neck, and I'm going to mark it and roll it. What I mean is my depth will be 3 and my width is going to be 3 as well. So I'll take my shoulder from this point and I'll roll it down. So I'm taking my shoulder, and from that shoulder I came down by 1.5. So I don't know how this came about, but it's just the rule of normal pattern drafting. So when I'm done with that, I measure from this point and I'm going to be dividing it by 2. So it's either you measure from your shoulder to your bust point, or from that slant line to your bust point, and divide it by 2. In any case, I'm going to be measuring my shoulder, and then I'll measure my shoulder again on my bust point line. So after I'm done with that, I'll divide it by 2, and then I'll put in my bust measurement. So remember, after you take your bust measurement, you divide it by 4, and then you'll be putting it on the armhole line there. So on this particular place, I'm going to be taking 0.7 inside, and after taking my bust measurement and dividing it, I'm going to go ahead and add my sewing allowance, and I'm going to be ruling it with my curve. So when I was making this video, I never thought this would be like the most hardest video I had to do, because I don't know, for some reasons you have to go through a lot of measurements. So but I promise after you have this, you can be able to sew anything that doesn't involve trousers. So that's why I'm going to the bases. So your bust point to the other bust point, you're going to divide it by 2 and then you put the measurement down. Mine is 7. I divide it by 2. It gives me 3.5, so I'm putting the 3.5 here. So you can also see that on my upper hip I have went ahead and measured the 3.5 there as well. So exactly on my waist I'm going to be taking 0.5 left and right, and I will roll it up and I will roll it down. That is my vertical dart. So immediately I'm done doing that, I'll just go right ahead and measure my waist, divide it by 4, add my sewing allowance, and then I'll put it there. I also do so on my upper hip. I'll put in my hip measurement and put it there. So I'll connect it together and I'll go to my gown length, and I can either remove 0.5 or 1 inch at the gown length or leave it like that depending on the shape I want. So when I'm done doing that, I just decided to leave the shape of my gown like that, and I went ahead and connected it together. So at this point my front part is literally done. So the back part is really simple at this point. I'll just go ahead and smoothen up all the part, and that's it for the front. So after I'm done with the front, I'll just go right ahead to the back. So the first thing I'm going to do on the back is to measure 1 inch for zipper allowance, and when I'm done I'll just go right ahead to the neck part. So for the neck part, I'll be choosing a neck depth of 1.5 and then a neck width of 3 inches. Meanwhile, for my slants for the back, I'm going to be choosing 1 inch instead of 1.5 that I used for the front. The reason being that the slope of the back is not that steep compared to the front. So when I'm done doing that, I'll just use the line that I use for the division for the armhole on the front. I'll use it for the back and bring out my armhole using 0.5. So after I'm done with that, I'll just go and bring out my vertical dart for the back. So I'm just going to be using the simple rule of one bust point to the other, and which is 7 inches that I use for the front dart. I'll put it back down here, and then I'll connect the line together and use 0.5 left and right for my waist, and that's it for the dart. So I went ahead putting the same measurement I used for the front on the back side, and that's it. So the last thing to do for the back, on your upper hip side, I'm going to go ahead and measure 1 inch, and your lower hip, I will go ahead and measure 1 inch as well. So on my waist, I'll go ahead and measure 0.2 out and connect it to that 1 inch. So I'm connecting it down and I'm connecting it up. So at this point, that's the end of my pattern drafting. I'll just go ahead and cut it out, and if I have a muslin dress, I'm going to use it to try it. You can also try it if it fits you perfectly. If it doesn't fit you perfectly, I'm going to be showing you in my next video what you can do to adjust any gaping in your pattern. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, share and comment if you like this video, and I will see you in my next video.